Hey guys, welcome back to the Marking Out Network. I am Neal Pretty Boy Thomas here with
the professional wrestler on the Professional Wrestling Podcast. I am Dean freaking Walker. Is that taken already?
I think it is.
Nah, it can't be. You guys want to jump into the first match?
Okay, sure. Hey, and are we missing somebody here? Somebody else is supposed to be here, right? But I can't really think who's it's supposed to be.
No. Who you talking about?
I don't know.
Oh,
Mr.
you're talking
AKA
about
who gives a shit?
something about the coffee creams. That's something he calls himself something, right? The Mist.
Coffee creamer.
He's something AK Mist, right?
Something
Is it Mist?
like I think it's Mist something.
Mist.
I want to say Mist.
Yeah. The Mist. Yeah. I don't know.
Some kind of element. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Hey, whatever the case may be, I feel better for some reason.
I know, right? It's like the dark cloud has been lifted.
For some reason, something in me wants to talk about Impact. Is that weird?
I know, right? It's something, man. What about these Impact facts here? I got a bunch of them. Can I go down this list? We want to go through the history lesson of Impact.
We'll see if we have time at the end. I'm sure we'll somehow run out of time. But in the first match,
all right, here we go. Clash of the Castle, Cardiff, Wales. It was all right. So general consensus here, overall good pay-per-view, but we're gonna go down a premium live event. Sorry, down by every single match and every single little detail that you guys care to listen to. So match number 1 was
we had Damage Control defeating Bliss, Asuka, and the Raw Women's Champ Belair. It's something that we predicted correctly in the last episode. We actually were thinking maybe we will see a turn, maybe Bliss will turn, or we'll see something out of the ordinary. But it was just a normal match. Something, and I'm being honest, it was something you would have seen on like a main event of Raw.
Yeah, I think so too. It was like something they could have just did on Raw. But I think every girl in the match got what they wanted to in. I feel like Bianca wasn't in the match as much as I thought, but she's like, the powerhouse of the trio, and she did her thing. I'm consistently impressed with Asuka. She's so quick. She's so fast. Her energy level in these matches are always really, really high. Alexa Bliss was a little more involved. Dakota Kai was good. Io Sky was very good. Bayley is the ringleader kind of the group, directing traffic. She's, won't probably be in the match as much because she has like her little minions doing the dirty work and the job for her. But it's funny too because on the prediction show we were like, man, I was like, oh shit, Bianca doesn't lose that much, and guess what? She's the one that took the fucking pinfall from Bayley, which actually is going to set up probably a match down the road at Extreme Rules and long-term booking. They didn't have this match right away, but they had the tag team, and I think it was a good showcase for all the women in the match. It was a good first match to start off the premium live event, get the crowd involved, and I think it was a good overall match.
It wasn't bad. I still think it was made for, something off of a Raw or SmackDown, but you said something while we were watching it, and I think it stuck with me a little bit. I want you to touch on it. So you said Bayley, right? Bayley doesn't seem like she really has stepped into herself again. Like, you feel like she's kind of not her yet.
I do. I think because she's been gone for such a long time, and it's like maybe it's the ring rust or something. I feel like something's missing. She's not definitely NXT Bayley, or when she had that great SmackDown run during the pandemic era when she was pretty much dominating. I feel like she's still trying to get her legs under her, and she's still gonna try to find herself a little more. Yeah, she's the head of Damage Control, but I just, man, I feel like there's something missing there. It's like she's only in a few matches. What number of matches is this for her back? Like,
is it 2?
It's only been a couple.
Has it been Aaliyah and then this one on the main roster?
Yeah,
not the live events, but yeah,
I don't know if how many live events she's appeared at. I don't really keep track of that stuff, but it's like, all right, well, I feel like she needs maybe, is she ready for the main event title picture now? I don't know if she necessarily is, but that's what they're gonna put her, and I think she's eventually gonna get there. But yeah, it just feels like there's something missing, and it's like something I can't really describe what it is. But I mean, she's get there. Granted, she was gone for a year. anybody that comes back from any kind of job, you gotta have to get acclimated again, and it's I think that's what she's doing, and having Io Sky and Dakota Kai come with her on this kind of little journey to bring her back into the fold, I think it's only going to be a good thing. But yeah, I don't think she's definitely not. If you asked her right now, she's not going to say she's 100% back, because I know she isn't. You could tell she's not, but that's just how I see it as of right now.
No, I agree. It takes some time. But all right, let's move into the next match. We have the IC Championship. We have Gunter defeating defeating Sheamus. So one of the cool moments here is we get to see Imperium back.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite moments. And then of course we had the brawling brutes. I think that's what they're called. The other guys. But so the match itself. It was what you would expect.
So this match is probably what everybody expected it was going to be. Gunter versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship served a lot in this match. It was extremely hard-hitting, and I think more importantly, the overall picture of this match brought the prestige and the respect to the Intercontinental Championship that has been missing for so long. And obviously, Gunther is a good choice to carry the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, the guys before him were Ricochet, Nakamura, and it just didn't seem as relevant. You look at Gunther right now, and you're like, he can be the main champion on any show, right? Don't you feel that way?
Oh yeah, he's definitely future world champ. He's got to be. I mean, the last time I cared about the Intercontinental was probably, and you're probably gonna laugh at me for this, but when Sami Zayn had it, that's when I cared.
Say the Miz.
No. when Sami Zayn had it, and he was going back and forth. I think with Shinsuke after he came back. Was it with Shinsuke? I don't know, but I liked it when Sami had it. I'm still not a fan of the way the
I remember
belt
now.
looks. Yeah, okay. It was around the time when they implemented the new belt.
Wait, didn't Sami get hurt or something, but he was still Intercontinental Champion, and then he came back and he says, I'm still the champ. But then they had a tournament to determine the champion, and Nakamura won it, and then it was like, oh, both titles are going to be on the line, so I have the undisputed Intercontinental Championship, that kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like what we're seeing with Punk and Mox.
Yeah, basically.
Bit. That's the last time I really gave a shit, but this time, it's a lot better. And I'm not saying Shinsuke was a bad champion.
Yeah.
It was negligence of Vince McMahon not putting any of the belts on the fucking pay-per-views. I mean, we had what was it, over a year?
WrestleMania 37 was the last time the Intercontinental Championship was on the line. Everybody on social media made a point of that. Like, man, it's been a really long fucking time. And that kind of shows you what Vince thought of these mid-card titles. Didn't really think much of them. So
we'll see Walter, Gunther. We'll see the guy. He'll be carrying this belt for a while.
Can we talk about Sheamus for a little bit?
Yeah, what's up? What about Sheamus?
So Sheamus, I'm not necessarily a big fan of his. Did he earn some of respect for me tonight? I don't know. I think he I said before, Sheamus, you can't out physical guys like Sheamus, McIntyre, Roman. These are big guys. They're hard hitters. But man, Gunther made Sheamus look like kind of like a little bee tonight. He dominated most of the match. Think about that. When's the last time you can actually say, man, Sheamus was dominated? When he was going against McIntyre, he was not dominated by McIntyre. It was like a 50-50 kind of battle back and forth. This match was basically, it wasn't necessarily a squash match, and then Sheamus had his moments where you think, oh, he might get a victory, but he was never really close. If you think about it, if you rewatch the match again, he was never really close at winning. He was always
a couple steps behind. I mean, he had his moments of getting him, but
he was wrestling up to Gunther. Gunther was wrestling down to him, if you think about it, because anytime like Sheamus would get something going, boom, counter, done. Let me squash that. And then Sheamus would get something again, boom, counter, squash that. Gunther had that really weak-ass powerbomb. Got to make note of that. It wasn't that great. He got a little more on the set.
Probably a little gassed. He let the powerbomb kind of do itself.
And again, Sheamus kind of had that John Cena thing where he's never the most athletic guy, and he couldn't really sell it all that well either, but that's okay, whatever it is. But
yeah, we're being nitpicky. The match itself was
hard-hitting. We knew it was going to be. And God bless anybody that can step in the ring and go however long that match was with Gunther. He's going to chop your fucking brains out. I mean, he's the hardest. I can't even remember the last time I've seen such a hard-hitting guy, man. Like, his chops, you feel for the wrestlers. Like, that ain't no sell. That fucking hurts.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I know.
You're like, damn. Like, you only can take a handful of those chops before you're like, you just want to crawl in a ball and just die.
Yeah,
because man, them chops are gonna wear you out, and you could see why he was, UK champion for 800 plus days, man. Like, nobody was gonna beat this motherfucker. And Sheamus, granted, he's up there in age, he's definitely not prime Sheamus anymore for sure, but yeah, he took a beating, and after the match you could tell he was wore out. Gunther's on top of his game, and it seems like he's getting better. I didn't think the NXT UK version could be improved, and right now he's actually better than what he was before, which is kind of scary to think about. And if he's on this pace and he can carry the Intercontinental Championship for a really long time, finally drop it to whomever, he can definitely move up to the world title picture and add that to his resume as well.
I know a lot of people don't like to predict things super far in the future, but I see this guy as a future Hall of Famer. I think he's different. He has
that's very far in the future.
Oh yeah, he's different. He has this old school look to him. I feel like I told you when we were watching. I mean,
he would have been perfect in the 80s.
Yeah, if he was in the 80s, he'd definitely be in the Hall of Fame today. I feel like he will definitely be, unless he, drastically takes a turn in his life, he will be in the Hall of Fame. I'm telling you now. I predict this. Back in NXT UK, I was like, I don't know if he's going to cross over at some point, but he's definitely someone I'm not saying he's not himself. He's also not super, fresh. He's definitely a throwback.
Yeah, of course.
But it's still fresh. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still newer now that it's a throwback, and it's not, he's kind of like the FTR of
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's old school, but because it's been such a long time, it's actually new school at the same time.
Yeah,
somebody made the comparison to him to Greg the Hammer Valentine. Do you remember him?
I can see it a little bit.
It was just because Greg the Hammer Valentine, it was like back in the 80s kind of style of wrestling, was just like smash mouth hard fucking hitting.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they were trying to get at too. It's like, man, if he would have fit in that era perfectly. Because it was just constant chops.
He looks like he stepped right out of it.
Yeah, right?
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so, but no, Gunther, he's definitely, he's carried this Intercontinental Championship extremely well, and I know Triple H has got to be extremely pleased with him.
And, of course, we have to touch on the next match. I can probably summarize it in one sentence.
Go for it.
Liv Morgan defeats Basler, and I'm just going to say we all predicted she'd win, but we got that part right. But what we didn't get right is she didn't win from a cheap victory. She did her really shitty finisher. What was it called?
Shit, I don't remember what it was.
Obliviator.
Oblivion.
Oblivion,
yes.
The only thing I can say is she needs to kill that finisher and send it into the Oblivion and get it out of here. Ha ha ha. Was that good? No. But no, seriously,
man.
that's a really bad finish, and Basler did not do that finish good either. I mean, it was just overall, it was like a very dud ending, and
it was
I would
kind
have
of
been
a dud,
happier having Liv do what we predicted, the shitty win to where
satisfying.
She's kind of like, semi-heelish to where she's like kind of tapping, but also rolling up Basler. I would have been like, okay, they're going somewhere. But dude, she pinned Basler clean. You know
what? I would have been happy. Yeah, which is actually more surprising. So Basler pretty much dominated the entire match, and Liv was kind of fending her off, or like fighting for her life. I mean, she was selling the arm, and let's give credit where credit's due. Liv is pretty resilient. I think if you can nitpick and do all that kind of stuff about the weak finish, but it's like, all right, well, she took everything Basler had to give. Basler couldn't put her away, and the longer you keep her in the match, she might find a way to win. And she said it before, I'm going to do everything and anything possible to keep this SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, the ending, to me, if I was booking the show, I would have had her whatever Basler's finisher was, she was going to have her tap, but then have Liv roll her up. And then when the referee's counting that final 3, Liv taps at the same time, and you don't know who the victor is. And it's like one ref, the one that counted the 3 is like, hey, Liv's the winner. And then the other ref comes down and she's like, no, Basler's the one that made her. And it's like, all right, well, if it's a draw, Liv keeps the title. It might as well go with that then, right?
Yeah.
That would have been the same thing, but Liv legitimately had beat Basler clean, which is even more of a shocking finish. And so it's like, all right, well, if they want to go that way, now she has 2 victories on Ronda Rousey and now a victory over Basler, which on paper is like, holy shit, she must be really good. But when you look at the match endings themselves, it's like, she's kind of skating by, and that's the way it's going. But she won regardless.
You can look at it from that perspective and be like, wow, I'm really glad that she finally looks like more than a paper champion. She's strong, and she's picking up wins, and I'm glad she looks like a stronger champion. But the way I'm looking at it is I was super into the fact that she looked weak. I thought it was interesting because then she could turn it, and I've said it multiple times on the podcast and in person, she can turn it and she can make it a really good heel gimmick to where she's a weaker champion and she knows it, but she keeps somehow retaining. Then she's like a mega heel, and people are like, oh, fuck you, man. And that's a better way than having it be like, because now since she is, let's say, a stronger champion, since she got Basler in a clean victory, now you go, okay, well, then what the hell happened in the beginning? Why was she weak and now she's strong? That part makes no sense. The way that I was looking at it makes a little bit more sense than that.
Yeah. So you know what I'm thinking of too when we were talking about like, oh, Liv getting like dominated the whole match. Do you remember a guy named Mikey Whipwreck in ECW?
Oh, yeah.
So didn't he get his ass beat the majority of the match, but find a way to pull out a victory in the end?
Right. Kind of like that.
Yeah. So I remember Paul Heyman telling the story. He was like, man, I wanted Stunning Steve Austin, or whatever he was called at the time, just Steve Austin. Like, man, I wanted to be champion. So I think Steve Austin dominated him the whole time in one of the ECW events. And then Mikey Whipwreck won with a simple roll up at the end. And you're like, wow, he pulled it off. He didn't get one offensive move in the entire match until that roll up at the very end, I think. But he was he was a fan favorite. People liked him, but he would get his ass beat the whole time, but find out a way to win the match.
You can go either way. I mean, you can be like, oh man, he keeps winning, I'm so happy about it. Kind of like when Santino would somehow be on a win streak, because he was more of a comedic guy.
He was a comedy relief. Yeah,
it's kind of like that. But for Liv's case, she would have been a better heel. But whatever. Moving on to the next one.
Sure.
We got Edge and Mysterio defeating Judgment Day, which we got wrong, but we got one thing right.
Dominic turns on his pops and Edge.
Yeah.
Which is we've been calling this probably for a while now. I mean, look back in the record books. We said Dominic, he needs to do something because right now his career is not going anywhere. He is definitely not living up to the Mysterio name, and this change was desperately needed to get some interest and some intrigue by him, because basically he was getting, pushed off and he was fading into the background. Mysterio, God bless him, he's in his upper 40s now. He can't be carrying these matches for his son in the entire time, and nobody was talking about Dominic. So we were talking about Dominic, but we were only talking about getting his ass beat by Rhea Ripley every single fucking week.
Yeah, kind of like when we were watching, I was like, Dominic probably won't turn, but he needs to turn in order for anybody to take him serious.
For anybody to care.
He's on Edge's literal coattails. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't gonna be shit. He ain't doing shit, and he's looking weak. And when I told you that when Ray was like, hey, we have to have Edge, blah, 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 and Dominic's like, I understand. And right when he said that, I was like, all right, he's going to turn.
Yes.
And it's going to be a good storyline.
Yep.
But they got me, because I was like, all right, maybe not, because he's looking a little too happy and too proud and all this type of shit. But they got me in the end, and I'm super, super glad. So here's a question just to wrap up that match. Does this mean he is finally with the Judgment Day, the thing that they teased a few weeks ago, or do you think he's his own guy doing his own thing?
I think he's going to be his own guy. I don't think he's going to officially join the Judgment Day. I don't think they're going to go with that. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think they're going to go down that road.
Well, it doesn't seem like it because he didn't join them afterwards. He walked away.
I think he was more upset at his dad not getting the respect that he feels like he deserves, like because Mysterio went with Edge and it was a tag team between those two. So he feels disrespected or overlooked, or I'm sure he's going to cut a promo on Monday Night Raw to explain his actions, why we did, because we need an explanation. We need to know why he turned on his dad, who's obviously an all-time great legend. Edge is on the same thing. So it's like, all right, why did you do that? I don't think he's necessarily going to join the Judgment Day, but yeah, it's like, but on the flip side of this, I feel like you could have had the Dominic turn. Wouldn't it have been better if Dominic turned and cost Mysterio and Edge the match? Or you think was this okay?
I think
because Judgment Day, they can't keep losing matches to be a legitimate group.
Yeah,
I hate that because they can have a victory here and there, but it's like you want to be considered a strong bedrock of Monday Night Raw. You have to continually win, and I know it's like it's 3 of them, but it's like, man, it's like you lost again. That's not good.
My first thought is, if we are correct and he's not joining the Judgment Day, then that makes a lot more sense to why he didn't really help them win, and that's why he just turned after the match, because he didn't care to help them win because he's not joining the Judgment Day. He just wants to really fuck up Edge and Mysterio. So I guess it makes sense in that way if you look at it.
I guess, but it could have did something twofold. Like he could have cost not only them the tag match, but kind of get some redemption and validation for himself too.
Hear me out. So he does that, right? He helps them win. Judgment Day wins. Balor open arms. Hey, you're joining. He then low blows Balor too on top of Edge.
Then he better
and
fucking
Mysterio.
run then.
And then he dips. And that's when Rhea and
Priest.
Damian, they're kind of like by the ropes looking at him like, hey, get back here, that kind of shit. Then he turns on both people and makes the Mysterios lose. So I don't know.
So he basically screws over the entire everybody involved in the match to be like, hey, I'm somebody. Pay attention to me. I'm here. Why aren't you guys acknowledging me? Because the disrespect that they've been throwing him for not only his father, not only Edge, obviously by Rhea. I have no respect for him. She fucking blindsided,
senseless, man. Yeah, she was like, listen, she beat him so hard. He's like, I got to turn on my father. That's what I got to do. The light bulb went off after one of the beatings.
Like, man, I'm not getting any kind of respect from anybody around here. I have to do something, which actually was pretty good. And we're talking about him now, so actually
he's a big
worked.
Talking point now, man.
Yes, it is.
All right, how do you feel about Seth Rollins defeating Matt Riddle? That was a fucking great match.
That was an excellent match. It was actually a lot of back and forth, and it's one of those matches where you're like, well, you can make the case for Seth, you can make the case for Matt Riddle. Now, hey, they brought his first name back. Congratulations, Matt, on your first name being back, and I think we can go with Seth freaking Rollins too on this. What do we think? Okay, before we get into the match, what do you think about Rollins' gear coming out? It was definitely a standout, talkable kind of gear. Smoke, what did you think about his gear? Okay, that's great.
Wait. Isn't he the Mist? Hold on.
Yeah, it's the Mist.
He ain't Smoke, he's Mist.
Oh, man.
But we definitely don't miss him. Ha damn. Anyways. What was the question again? What would I like? Oh,
what'd you think about Seth Rollins' attire?
So when I was like, what is he, an evil peacock? And then
that's pretty good though.
I was like, evil peacock from hell. I like it. It's interesting. And then you show me Elton John. I was like, shit. Did not even put it together that was Elton John, man.
Because they're in England. Yeah.
That's smart, man. The only thing I don't like is those shoes. It's really hard to wrestle in running shoes because it feels like they're gonna fall off on you the whole match. Trust me, I know it ain't fun.
You said they were like, you felt like during your match when you're wrestling with those, they were gonna fly off, and then you got to go looking for your shoe. Then you got to incorporate that somehow in the match, and just like
because you can't be shoeless the whole match. That'd be weird. But he did have the kick pads, and they're you know it's wrapped underneath. So I mean, he's fine. Yeah, whatever. But anyway, the match itself was fantastic. I think because that opener wasn't really that fantastic. I think this would have been the great
This would
first match.
have been a good opener, right?
Perfect first match. And then you could have put this tag team right before the main event to kind of give the crowd a little bit of an in-between. I'm not saying they're boring or they don't care.
They were hyped the entire time.
Yeah, but this would have been like, it would have been better to have these two switch between the first and the second.
Oh, yeah, because it hasn't traditionally... I feel like Seth Rollins is a good kickoff kind of guy, right?
He opens the show a lot.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, who started off the show all the time was like RVD.
Yeah.
Rob. And
they need those explosive guys.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio was always a good one, too. But yeah, Seth Rollins and Riddle back and forth the entire match. I think Seth, he needed this victory more, honestly. Don't you think so too? Because
we predicted this that he would win as well.
So Seth hasn't won a premium live event in like a year or something like that. It's been a long time, like a clean victory.
We can just say pay-per-view. I don't like
it throws me off every time I say it. But
that sounds like shit.
So with Riddle, obviously the whole promo and Seth getting extremely more personal than we all thought this whole thing was gonna go. Riddle, he tried his hardest. He did everything he can, but man, for whatever reason, Seth has his number. Is this going to continue on? I don't know. We said this match should have happened at SummerSlam, but they wanted to hold off to Clash at the Castle probably to get a little more out of the storyline. But, you figure Riddle, where's he at right now mentally? I mean, a guy talking about your family and your personal life for the whole world to see, and you just lost a match at a big-time pay-per-view. I said pay-per-view.
Hey.
And it's like, where's he going to be at mentally? Seth is going to be like, you know what? I did what I had to with you. I'm going to move on. I'm off to bigger fish to fry. It's over and done with.
I don't know. I feel like they're going to have it again.
It could be
I think
Extreme
if you
Rules,
think about Rollins, man, they're back and forth with Rollins. He's with the same guy for 4 or 5 months.
It is. He is. Yeah. He has a long rivalry with a bunch of guys. Like it was him and Cody, and then him and Kevin Owens seem to go at it awful lot. So it's like, I don't know if this is going to be the end, but I feel like, well, maybe for Seth it's probably the end, but obviously Riddle's probably going to push the fact, like, you know what? We're not done yet, man. I still haven't got what I needed out of this. You're going to pay for what you said about me. Because it's very personal, and Riddle's not going to let this slide just because he got a pinfall victory over him. It ain't going to mean shit.
It would make Riddle look weak if he didn't continue this storyline.
Oh, of course not. You saw the look on his face when the match was over. He's still fucking pissed.
Yeah, even though it was a clean victory still. I mean, but yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to. Dude, those two going at it in Extreme Rules, that makes sense because they're going to fucking pound each other away.
Oh, yeah.
And with all the
weapons involved.
What do they call it? Foreign objects?
Foreign objects, yeah. Yep.
All right, so let's look at this. The main event. Man,
very hyped for this. Very hyped.
Let's hire Mark Henry for these. You know what I'm saying?
It's time for the main event.
I laugh every time he fucking does that.
I love it.
It's so funny. All right, but so Reigns, of course, defeats McIntyre, but I'm not even gonna throw out that. Of course, I thought McIntyre might have actually fucking had it many times.
Yes.
And I'm gonna give Damon his props, aka Cordell, aka The Mist, aka Smoke. I'm gonna give him his props. All right. He said Solo will debut.
Yes, he
for
did.
The pay-per-view and help Roman win. I didn't think that he would debut so soon. Of course, I heard the rumors he was gonna get called up, but I thought maybe on like a SmackDown or some shit like that. But it felt good. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt right. So I'm happy to see it. Where do you think this is going to go?
You think, okay, so, hey, shout out to you, Smoke, if you're listening to this, and I hope you are.
He ain't.
No, he's probably not. But
he's too Hollywood for that shit.
Yeah, of course. But if you're going to have Solo debut, and obviously, his family history behind him, what better way to debut in such an impactful way? That's the thing. You can just show up and
did you mean to say that impactful for Cordell?
I did not know, but
good call out. Man.
Yes.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
Man, all these tie-ins, right? It all makes sense. It all makes sense.
Oh, Jesus.
So what better way for him to have such an impactful way by helping Roman Reigns retain the undisputed Universal heavyweight championship of the world. He could have debuted on a random SmackDown like, hey, he's gonna fight Madcap Moss.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and you're like, all right, that's cool. Next, right? That doesn't have the same impact as helping on such a build-up where we did a poll earlier this week on Twitter. 80%, 79% said McIntyre was going to win.
Yeah.
Granted, it wasn't many votes, but you kind of get a general consensus of where the people are going.
Yeah,
right.
Dude, everyone was falling for the McIntyre push.
Oh hell yeah, man!
And I did a little bit. I knew Reigns would probably pull it off, but I was real close to choosing McIntyre.
In the end, honestly, the match itself, we can kind of start from the beginning. Extremely slow pace. They're looking at the crowd. They're kind of gauging where everybody's at. Heavy McIntyre fan base over there.
Yeah, and before anybody says, they're marks, trust me, we know it's if you're over, you don't have to overdo the moves. We get it.
Yes.
But we're so used to the AEW style now, where it's like,
I know,
like Ospreay and Omega and shit. It's like
talk about apples and oranges when you talk about different different kinds of wrestling. But you got 65,000, 68,000, whatever, how many thousands of people there. They're hanging on every move. These are kind of, they always say it's a kind of overdone, but a big fight feel. But this match was built up almost like a WrestleMania.
I felt like I just watched Mania.
It felt like, because...
And I like that there was only 6 matches on this card. It was very... everyone had their time. They didn't have to rush.
Yes.
They didn't have to...
Nothing felt rushed the entire night. No.
Yeah, it was very smooth. I like that. It's not... And I'm not harping on AEW doing like 15, 16 matches of pay-per-view. Is it too much? Yes, but...
Well, they only have like a handful of pay-per-views a year. They don't have one every month.
That's everyone's argument, and I get it. So it makes sense. But yeah, so I mean, this main event was it got the same reaction as something you would see in AEW for Omega.
Exactly,
but they didn't have to kill their bodies.
No.
They had the crowd right in the palm of their hands.
That's the most important thing, right? Yep.
Here's a word of advice, and this is a kayfabe conversation, so take this lightly. McIntyre, if you want to hit your finisher, you should probably do it as a surprise. A countdown kind of gives it away a little bit, you think?
Yeah.
It's almost screaming to your opponent, hey, I'm going to hit you in 3, so you better duck 2. And it's like, but this is kayfabe. It's just funny to me. I always bring that up.
Yep.
I hate countdowns.
I mentioned that too. I compared it to the Shawn Michaels super kick where he does the stomps. But, anyways, going back to the match itself, McIntyre versus Roman Reigns. It's a very slow, methodical, I'm going to hit you with whatever. We'll sit there for a while. All right, we'll build it up. You're going to counter with something. I'm going to go for the 3 count. You're going to kick out at 1 or 2. We'll sit there for a while. Oh shit, I'm getting frustrated, man. I can't really put you away. What am I going to do? All right, we'll keep doing that for 8 or 10, 9, 12 times, whatever it's going to be. It's a very slow, methodical pace, but it had the crowd on every... They had the crowd in the palm of their hand, which is the most important thing. We knew kind of like where this match was going to go. Everybody kind of... I think that when people were voting on this match, it's like, who do you think is going to win? It's McIntyre, and I feel like that was more your heart. But logically, if you're thinking about this, you're like, it's probably going to be Roman. I mentioned this before, too, on the prediction show. How's Roman going to win if he doesn't have the Usos to help him out? There's no Usos. There's no Paul Heyman. And obviously, we found out that Solo was going to be the one to help him out. Overall, me personally, this kind of match is not my favorite kind of match. I don't really like these slow-paced matches. Maybe I did when I was a kid. That was fun. I compare this match to like Hogan Warrior. It's very slow. Let's put the hands up.
Maybe a little bit of Rock and Hogan.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Was that Rock and Hogan? Yeah.
We're gonna do the test of strength. As a kid, trust me, I watched Hogan and Warrior 50,000 fucking times. It's one of my all-time favorite matches. Is this gonna be one of my all-time favorite matches? No, it's not, because I've seen this before. That's fine. I'm probably a bigger fan of McIntyre than you are, Dean, at this point. But I don't know. Maybe he's kind of gained a little respect over the last couple months.
I'm starting to get that 2018 to 2020 McIntyre, to where he was just he was doing his thing and he was killing it. He wasn't doing the cringy sword shit. He wasn't
trying to be overly funny.
He wasn't overly doing it, man. And he's back to what he's good at.
All right.
It's kind of like when Reigns finally hit his stride, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. So I'm into it. I mean, I love McIntyre. I wasn't a fan of Vince's McIntyre.
Yeah, so when McIntyre first came about, like many years ago, when he was like the chosen one, right? Didn't really much care for him. But now this version of the McIntyre, I was like, man, I could see him being champion. He didn't get really a just due because of the pandemic era. He didn't really have a good...
That was everyone's reaction, by the way. Our reason for saying McIntyre.
Yeah.
They were all like, oh, he didn't get that. He was champion during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like, his time will come. I think, you know what? I think it's a good thing he lost. Because his win, and I say it kind of a lot,
I disagree.
It's going to be so much more when he finally wins.
But what better scenario can you picture him winning the championship if it wasn't tonight? That's my thing. Like,
it's a good, it's a good feel good moment, but also you know the rules. If you're in a more of a home territory, you ain't gonna win.
Home city, home country kind of thing.
Yeah, and he wasn't like in Scotland, but you know what I'm saying. He was in Europe. It's kind of his base.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna win. WWE loves to get you on the edge of your seat and then crush your soul. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's what they do.
But I love that. I love being pissed off because that means I'm really fucking into it.
You're really, because you don't have that gratification, right?
Yeah,
that satisfaction.
Yeah, and the only time I don't like being pissed off is when I see Liv do some shit. And I'm like, all right, now I'm pissed.
Yeah.
But for this case, it's different. It's not that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. The only thing that I want to say before we wrap up.
Yeah.
And this may get me a little bit of a deal here.
Sure.
in a bad way.
You could say that.
Yeah, like he's gonna give a shit, right?
Yeah. Tyson Fury.
Why the fuck were you get out of the fucking ring? Listen, I respect you highly.
He's the heavyweight champion of the world.
I think you're great at what you do.
At what he does. Yes.
But you don't think that was cringy at all?
I think it was incredibly cringy.
Motherfucker looked like he pulled up in pajama pants and started singing the song. You saw the crowd. Nobody was like, yeah. Everyone was just kind of like,
he's the Gypsy King, man. He's come out in some crazy attire and clothing before, so to me that wasn't nothing new. That's actually kind of toned down. Like,
really? Wow.
Yeah, t-shirt, pajama pants. He's come out in some crazy ring gear. I know we're not necessarily boxing experts, and I know we're not going to go on this whole debate of what's better, wrestling, boxing, UFC. We're not going down that fucking road.
Yeah, I'm a fan of boxing.
It's apples, oranges, bananas, whatever you want to call it. But yeah. The fact that he came out at the very end when McIntyre is kind of recovering from his epic encounter with Roman Reigns, and he starts singing, the crowd didn't really seem all that enthusiastic. You kind of heard a few boos, which is kind of crazy.
I would have booed my head off. No,
because this was McIntyre's moment. This should have been his kind of thing. But like, you know what, guys, I tried my heart out. Forgive me. I'm gonna do better next time. Whatever.
Perfect.
I'm gonna fight forever.
Chef's kiss. Perfect.
And then everybody, he kind of got the Sheamus
exactly
due respect at the end. Everybody went home happy. But the fact that Tyson Fury came out at the end and was singing wasn't all that great, unless they're trying to plant something with, something else down the road. But I don't know if they're going to go that way.
In the ring,
I don't want to see that, because we saw that before and it wasn't that great. We don't want to see it again. Keep the wrestling to the wrestlers. You're a professional boxer. You're the heavyweight champion of the world. You keep doing that. I know they like to cross over promotions. We've seen this with Mike Tyson in the 1990s and Floyd Mayweather. They love getting boxers involved in professional wrestling. It is what it is. But it ended on a weird kind of sour, cringy, bitter note. Somebody posted a picture too. I can't give credit where credit's due because I don't remember who did it. But so back in the 90s when Lex Luger defeated Yokozuna by disqualification, and the whole roster came out and they were lifting up Luger on their shoulders like he won the title, but he didn't. Somebody compared to the same thing, because they're like, you're kind of celebrating McIntyre at the same time. And I was like, I guess it's kind of connection, but not really. Luger probably should have won in that moment, but
yeah, I see what they mean.
Yes, I see what they meant too, but it's like, it's not really necessarily the same thing. But
for me, it's just because it was cringy, and like you said, and I was thinking the same thing. It's like it was his moment, and if he would have done what he did without any of the Fury shit,
nope,
it would have been perfect.
It would have been better, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he could have went over to him in the crowd, gave him a high five, maybe hugged a little bit, was like, "Oh man,
needed.
what's up, bro?" You know,
That's all you needed.
that's perfect. That's it. And then Tyson Fury could have turned around to the crowd and been like, "Oh, let's sing, blah blah blah."
Yep.
And it would be like, "Oh, cool." But with the microphone, spotlight, geez, man, I wanted to jump out of my own skin. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I was actually hoping for the 3-2-1. I was like, "Oh, he's gonna claim more of this bitch." But you know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
Jesus Christ, man,
No.
get the hell out of here. That was not the way to go.
Wow. So final thoughts. What do you think overall? What do you would give the Clash of the Castle? There was a lot of hype around this premium live event, man. You think it lived up to your expectations?
I would say the women, man, dragged that pay-per-view down, and I'm being honest. It was the tag match in the beginning was not that great. It could have been on a Raw.
I thought it was decent. It was good, and because it sets up something for
really
later. Yeah,
pay-per-view worthy to me. I don't know.
It was,
and then
I think so.
and then for the live match, not worth it either. I think they just didn't get it tonight. I don't know. Something just wasn't on for me personally.
No.
I would have said a 9, but I'm gonna say an 8 just because of that. That's it. But 8's good. 8's great.
So yeah, going back to Liv and Basler real quick, because it doesn't for me, it doesn't make it doesn't take I'm not more keen on her being champion as I was before the match. That's what I was trying to say. It's like, all right, well, anyways, it was what it was. Overall, I'm probably gonna give Clash at the Castle, I'm going to say probably a 7 out of 10.
Oh, you went lower than I did, man.
Yeah, I think...
You don't think it's an 8?
No, I think 6 to 7
We had some classic matches. You got to think about it. You had Gunter. You had...
Gunter and Sheamus.
You had a Dom turn. You had Rollins and Riddle. You had Reigns and McIntyre kind of killing it. Come on.
Well...
7.5, I'll take that. I'll take that and I won't be upset.
I would say if I'm ranking the matches, probably my favorite was probably... Man, that's a tough one. Gunter and Sheamus was good, even though I'm not really keen on Sheamus, but I like Gunter a lot because he's such a hard-hitting motherfucker, man. He chops your fucking brains out, and I think that's great. Riddle and Rollins was good. The Dom turn was good. Liv and Basler, that ending, the way she won, I don't take Liv any more serious than I do before. The tag match I thought was slightly better than a regular Raw SmackDown match. And then the Roman McIntyre, it just kind of left a bitter taste in my mouth, man. It was a lot of back and forth, a lot of posturing. It was a very slow pace. And in my heart of hearts, I do feel, and I'll go to the grave with this, that McIntyre should have won because the pop and the celebration and everything that we could have saw and witnessed would have been spectacular. And it would have been, instead of, oh, ho-hum, Roman wins again, it'd be like, holy shit, did you see McIntyre won? And I know they're trying to build up Roman Reigns to be like a God-level type guy, and he's been on this incredible run. I mean, he's basically rewriting the history books on every record that you can think of right now. So it's like, all right, when's his time going to end? We're going to probably think 6 months from now at WrestleMania or whatever, how long it's going to be. But I think for this sold pay-per-view, it still could have worked. Roman still could be Roman. Guys have lost titles and recovered before. It's not the end of the world. But, man, the ending, shit, man, it could have been a 9, 10 out of 10 if McIntyre would have won. It could have been that great. And it would have been better. If McIntyre would have won, you could have said, man, this is going to be the pay-per-view of the year.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. No,
now,
for sure.
Again, we go back to All Out. All Out could potentially be the pay-per-view of the year. We're not quite there yet, but this could have been the pay-per-view of the year. Everybody would have been talking about how fantastic it would have been, but I know they're booking long-term. Solo comes back, so I'm going to go 7 out of 10. Clash at the Castle in the books.
All right. I won't fight you on it anymore. That's cool. I understand. But yeah, so that wraps it up. I will see you guys in the next one.
Hey, Smoke, where you at?
AEW All Out.
Smoke, where you at? Come on, man. The Mist.
We have to call him that because he ain't gonna watch this. He ain't gonna know.
No, he's not gonna watch it. You know what? Your presence was solely missed tonight. We love to hear your takes. We love to hear those impact facts. And yeah, we miss you, buddy.